Howdy folks, my name is Nathan Leaney. I'm a graduate of Deep Springs College at Oberlin College. My title of my project was From Farm to Fork, Eating the Wake of the Green Revolution. Because all of us got sort of clever titles to our projects, I decided to come back to the clever title idea and make another one once I'm done about what I really did. It was corn croissants, chapati, and cookies, our carbohydrate conundrum and complexity. Basically what I was doing was studying bread. I was looking at how traditional breads around the world are changing due to agricultural and economic policy. I was asking, was this good? Was this bad? Was it neutral? And what were the effects? I was spending a lot of time with wheat, traditional grains, and just looking around, having a good time. So the first question that we have to ask is, well, what exactly is the Green Revolution? Don't worry if you don't know, because I certainly didn't when I started. And most of the people who have currently implemented it didn't know much about it either. Basically, it was at the end of the Second World War, there's a lot of hungry people in the world. And those hungry people, as hungry people often are, were a little bit anxious. And there's fear that these anxious people would eventually begin revolting, and they would go communist. So Europe and the United States wanted to quell this sort of uprising of a red revolution with a green revolution and create economic independence and agricultural independence and food sovereignty. So they did this through a system of implementing pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, hybrid seeds, as well as monocropping in the developing world. They had some success, they had some failures, and a lot of interesting ideas with this. I went around with a bunch of lines and traced my way around the world, starting off in Mexico. Mexico is the birthplace of the Green Revolution. And in Mexico is the birthplace of the Green Revolution. The first research center I went to was sort of the womb of the Green Revolution. It's where all the ideas were sort of formed and gathered and built up. It was where Norman Borlaug, Nobel Peace Prize winner for his work, the Green Revolution, got all his research done. It's the biggest corn and wheat genetics research institute in the world. I spent a lot of time talking to policymakers, talking to scientists, figuring out what happened, what was happening, and what was going to happen in terms of letting hungry people grow more food. It was great. It's an example of an organization that's made mistakes in the past and is willing to move past them rather than just dwelling on them and going sort of with the same ideas again and again. We got to travel around Mexico with them, visit farmers, see sort of cutting-edge agronomy technology, and have a good time. Afterwards, I went on my own for a little bit and talked to farmers about the effects of NAFTA and the effects of the ethanol boom and see sort of what good and bad was coming out of it. Afterwards, I went out and took some cooking courses, both formally and informally, and learned how to make good Mexican food and look at tortillas. My overall impression of what's happening in Mexico in terms of breads is that corn is a traditional crop that's been grown there, but the diversity in corn agriculture is going way down, and wheat consumption is going way up. And that's being a really bad thing. Diabetes is increasing substantially because of increased consumption of sugar, and people are really unhealthy. Second, I went to India. India is the big example of the success of the Green Revolution, but apparently nobody told the people who were in India, and they all told me that it was instead the big failure of the Green Revolution. It was a place where instead of bringing good and prosperity, it brought suffering. I spent my first couple months in India in the north speaking to farmers about polluted water from herbicides and pesticides. I talked to them about destroyed soil from the use of fertilizers, the loss of biodiversity in foods they ate, and malnutrition that was resulting from it. I got to spend time with a lot of farmers up there from the Farmers Conference, as well as from a short course on food sovereignty, before going down to Delhi and speaking to policymakers and trying to get across what I had learned up north from farmers and try and tell them my experiences and the experiences of others. And I was fairly regularly flat out denied that they were happening. People had decided that this was the course they were going, and it was full speed ahead. Afterwards, I went down to Kerala. Kerala is the most prosperous state in India, and got to see the devastating effects of rapid growth. The diet is going from lots of brown foods to a lot of white foods. They now have a higher diabetes rate than the UK does. There's lots of troubles. Afterwards, I went over to Tamil Nadu, spent some time with the sort of most impressive and most inspiring research institute that I got to be with, this MS Swaminathan Foundation. They're a group that is trying to use microfinancing and trying to use opening markets so that people can use indigenous crops and grow them and actually eat them and have there be a market for it. Overall, India has some ups, has some downs, but I think that it's going to be sort of placed in the next couple of years. There's going to need to be more dialogue and more happening. Afterwards, I went over to France. I wanted to see how a developed nation was protecting their traditional breads. France does it through a lot of government intervention. The government has their hands in every little pot. I got to do an apprenticeship at a bakery in Paris. Got to learn how to make traditional sourdough breads as well as some tasty pastry. I got to talk to a bunch of policymakers about how they've somehow finagled all the money from the EU agricultural program to go straight to France and straight to keeping rural areas of France rural, active, and alive. I got to eat a lot and got to see how good bread really can be if you put work into it and do it in traditional ways. Afterwards, I went down to Italy and spent some time with an organization called Slow Food, which incidentally I'll start working for on Monday. It's a group which is trying to create traditional communities of food that are fair, just, and local. It's using sort of a community-based concept to make it so that people are interested in preserving what good things they have and learn about the good things other people have. I ate a lot of pasta, which I consider bread, and enjoyed seeing how regional diet really can be. Afterwards, I went to Egypt. Egypt was in the full swing of the current food crisis, which sadly I don't have time to talk about. But I got to see bread riots and how people are currently being kept in check by sort of a bread and services mentality of the Egyptian government just pouring money into subsidizing bread. People are very, very literally not riding the streets because they can eat. And when they can't, they are. If it weren't for the United States government, in my opinion, there's no chance that the Egyptian government would still stand. So, with all this travel, I learned a lot of stuff. The stuff I learned was great. The first lesson was basically that if you expect a miracle, you'll get a disaster. The example that I saw in the past was that of hybrid seeds. Hybrid seeds are a great thing. They're basically, you take wheat, for example, and you make it better. You make wheat so that it'll grow more wheat. But the problem is that hybrid wheat needs very specific circumstances. You need to have pesticides, herbicides, the whole deal, all or none. And if you have all, it's great, but most people don't. They designed this for perfect conditions, and they don't have perfect conditions because it's an imperfect world. Things would be growing much better if we had that perfect world. In the current conditions, looking for a miracle is genetically modified foods. Not against them, I just think they're not being used very well right now. All the research that's going into GM foods right now is for helping corporations team up foods with herbicides and pesticides, not making them more drought tolerant, not making them grow more food, not making them be more nutritious. We need to have a change in that if we're actually going to sort of start questioning things. And that's the next lesson I learned, is that if you ask the wrong questions, you'll get the wrong answers. In my opinion, the Green Revolution had such mixed success because people refused to ask hard questions. They instead decided to go in one direction only. A lot of economists said that we're trying to grow wheat. An acre of land now grows 3 times more wheat than it used to, without asking the question, well, what did it used to grow besides wheat? People used to use diversified acres of land where they would have wheat as well as 30, 40, 50 different types of crops to get more calories from an acre of land than they do now, even if the commodity crop, wheat, is much higher. People need to be more comparative. My next lesson was that people love cookies. Man, do they love cookies. I spent so much time talking to people about cookies. Cookies are like crack for people. And that's a good thing in some ways, because I love cookies too, but a bad thing in other ways because cookies expand waistlines in the not so good way. I think that people need to, in general, know about their food and know about their food traditions so that they can keep on eating in a way which is sort of sustainable for their own health. Finally, I learned that education solves. I learned so much throughout this. I knew nothing when I started, and I know a lot now. I met so many people